Time now for Focus, and today they risk their freedom, even their lives. So what leads some people to become whistleblowers? This in cases like the NSA spying scandal, the Panama Papers, SwissLeaks and LuxLeaks affairs. Well, this recent string of global mega scandals has cast the spotlight on whistleblowers. France 24's Alexandra Renard and Melina Huet have met with some of the formerly unknown names who've made world headlines for publicly calling time on behaviour that they see as unacceptable.
Luxembourg, waiting for the so-called LuxLeaks trial verdict. Outside the courthouse, dozens of protesters are putting on a show, feasting, making fun of big multinationals and Luxembourg, the tiny European country at the heart of a tax evasion scandal. This actor is playing the role of an employee who's being publicly shamed. His crime revealing how tax authorities helped dozens of multinationals avoid paying billions of euros in taxes. But meanwhile, inside the courthouse, two former employees are waiting for the verdict in real life, Antoine Deltour and Raphaël Allais. Together, they leaked thousands of sensitive documents from multinationals and local authorities in Luxembourg. They both worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, a consultancy company specialized in fiscal optimization. The two former colleagues now face up to 10 years in prison and a €1 million fine. If the charges against them are dropped, future whistleblowers could avoid similar problems with the law. Their trial has been dubbed historic and attracted worldwide attention, but many have been left disappointed.
I was hoping for a much more lenient verdict. While I do feel dejected, I also want to remain combative, because you can't be content with such a verdict that harms the freedom of information, which I believe is a dangerous thing for the good working of our democracies.
The court gave its verdict 2 years after the scandal broke out. Deltour and Allais received suspended sentences of 9 and 12 months respectively, with fines of €1,000 and €1,500. The court, however, acknowledged their role as whistleblowers.
It is undisputable that Antoine Deltour and Raphaël Allais' revelations are a matter of general interest because, as a consequence, this has led to greater transparency and fiscal equity.
Today the court has said, OK, I'm faced with whistleblowers, faced with denunciations that serve the public interest, so here I'm going to sentence them.
Luxembourg's court refused to make any exceptions, saying that whistleblowers are not exempted from complying with the law.
Within the laws of Luxembourg, there is no protection except for matters of corruption, influence peddling, and collusion. Today, whistleblowers are not protected at a European level by any legal standards.
We're hearing a lot of let's protect whistleblowers, but things are moving very, very slowly. The European Court should set rules and not just voice recommendations. They're asking member states to protect whistleblowers, but this shouldn't be left to each member state's discretion.
The European Union's position on whistleblowers is not easy to read. The European Parliament passed a bill to protect trade secrets last April, and a few months later, it approved new measures against tax evasion. Under European laws, whistleblowers are not protected. Yet despite this lack of protection, they're recognized as acting in the general interest. It's a confusing situation, but for Raphaël Allais, this is no good reason to get discouraged.
Instead of 10 years in jail and €1 million fine, we got 9 months suspended and a €1,000 fine. We're formally acknowledged as whistleblowers acting in the general interest too, so I think this is a victory.
The events that led to the LuxLeaks trial were a true ordeal for the couple.
There were 3 policemen, 1 bailiff and 3 people from PricewaterhouseCoopers who told me, "We have a search warrant. We suspect your husband, Raphaël, has leaked documents." It's only at that moment that I learned about all this.
And what was your reaction?
It was like being knocked out, like falling from an 18-story high building. I couldn't believe it. Really, Raphaël? A nice and shy person who's always ready to help. This had to be a mistake.
Stéphanie Gibault, another French whistleblower, says her life has been turned upside down. In June 2008, she claims she was asked to destroy hundreds of files after the office of UBS France's CEO was raided by French police. But she says she refused to do so.
Starting 2008, I began experiencing what I would never wish upon anyone: being harassed, sidelined, isolated. I would look at my reflection in the mirror and couldn't avoid the fact that I was aging prematurely, that I didn't like the face I saw. But despite all of this, I knew that my conscience was clean.
She was fired in 2012 after she blew the whistle on these alleged practices of money laundering and tax fraud at UBS. Recent scandals have put enormous pressure on governments around the world to take measures against such practices.
What these whistleblowers are doing is very useful for the international community. They're taking risks, so they must be protected.
Here's what French Finance Minister Michel Sapin had to say to Stéphanie Gibault, who has now to live on state handouts.
People know my name and my face now. It's impossible for me to find a similar job. So yes, I do feel abandoned at every level.
She's helped the French state recover billions of euros. She gives out for free confidential information, yet she finds herself in this position.
I absolutely understand that people find this paradoxical and deeply unjust. I'm ready to help out where I can, but it's not the finance minister who decides to implement this or that measure. My role is to make sure that the law in the future protects whistleblowers.
Across Europe, many public figures have pushed for new measures to protect whistleblowers. One of them is European MP and former judge Eva Joly.
They're modern-day heroes. France has now created a unified status for whistleblowers, but it's not enough. This must be done at a European level. We, as citizens, we completely depend on such whistleblowers to become aware of potentially harmful situations. Remember the mediator scandal in France, the killer weight loss drug. Despite what experts were saying, the Servier company didn't stop producing this drug.
Stéphanie, Antoine, Raphaël, and dozen others have helped uncover major financial scandals. Their role has been recognized as useful in promoting the public interest. But authorities have yet to acknowledge the risks they had to take to do so. Under current laws, they're merely seen as thieves.